Today, Rinpoche completed the teaching on Lama Tsongkhapa's source of all my good, with an emphasis on the teachings of Tantrayana, utilizing Lama Tsongkhapa's Lamrim Chenmo. It's fine. So now, if everybody would turn to Lama Tsongkhapa's Source of All My Good on page, actually 40 is where we're going to begin. We're going to get right into the tantric section of the text, and hopefully complete it today. So if everybody turns to where it says, let's see, tomorrow, 41, grant that once I've practiced well the path shared and become a vessel that is worthy, I enter with perfect ease the way of the diamond, highest of all ways, holiest doors to come inside for the fortunate and good. So this is where we're going to begin, and this is where the section on Tantra, the brief section on Tantra begins. Okay. So when we look at this stanza, it says, grant that once I've practiced well the path shared and become a vessel that is worthy. Here, Lama Tsongkhapa is referring to those stages of the path that are shared in common with beings of small capacity, shared with medium capacity, and those those practices for beings of great capacity that have led up to this section on the great capacity teachings of Tantra. So that's what's meant by practiced well the path shared. And this practiced well part, Rinpoche also said, means that one has engaged in each of those practices in a very thorough manner. The small, the trainings for beings of, training the mind in the stage of the path for beings of small and medium capacity, and then the prior teachings on great capacity practices. So once one has had a thorough practice of all of these preliminary stages or paths, then he or she is a vessel that is worthy, and then may enter. It says, "May I enter with perfect ease the way of the diamond." Here, the way of the diamond is referring to Tantrayana, and Tantra is entered by way of an initiation. So all Tantras have an initiation, and that is the only way that one can enter into Tantric practices. So there are 4 classes of Tantra: Action Tantra, Performance Tantra, Yogic Tantra, and Highest Yogic Tantra. And all 4 of these classes of Tantra have initiations and require an initiation to be practiced. So the entrance with perfect ease is referring to, this holiest door is referring to the initiation itself. One needs to take an initiation in order to enter into any Tantra. And there are 4 initiations because when we look at purification, one needs to purify one's body, one's speech, one's mind, and then the combination of the 3 together that can happen. So there's a purification then, initiation for each of those 4. So there's the vase initiation for the purification of the body. There's the secret initiation for purification of the speech. There's the wisdom initiation for purification of the mind. And then there is the word initiation for purification of those 3, the combination of those 3. Digson.
What the Dibaji Tajik didn't want you to remember one someone, Shiro Shijuan, Digitaji, Digitaji, not that one. The Jabatal Karim was not Kuju to Koje, Lonkutuguni, and the Ishichu don't want you with Koje. Onge Tubalatene, Jabatale, and Kuji Toyung, Koje to Jogoton Guni, then Ishichu warning with Jerva, Koje. Morning was stuck on the Sanji Jungo Dentro, Ishichu Sanji not yet. Sanji Chamberton Godeni, Longo to Joguni, Jet Koje. Onge in Jabatal Koje to
So these 4 initiations that relate to the body, speech, mind, and the combination of all 3 are called the vase initiation, the secret initiation, the wisdom initiation, and then the word initiation. These initiations result in the various bodies of the Buddha. So the vase initiation, then the Pombi Wang, the Lonko Tuku, Gare.
Poma de what the Poma Roa. Poma Gari Chujun Poma de what that the Susu condition Dagante Kujitu.
So the result of these 4 tantras, Rinpoche said just do it generally, the result of these 4 tantras are the emanation body, the enjoyment body, the wisdom body, and the natural body or the nature body. So these are the 4 results of the 4 initiations. So it's the enjoyment body, the emanation body, the wisdom body, and the natural body. And Rinpoche said that the natural body is the actual cessation of suffering, the actual cessations within the continuum of the being of the Buddha. So this is what the natural body is referring to, that actual cessation itself.
That Judy on the Matubaina, Judy Land is going to remember that Judy Land. Land what the Judy Land, La Ruby Land, Malubalani, Grovata, Lubalani, Hari chim nalu le.
Lupi me lupi wong. Gonga me bichi.
Hari chim nalu le shaju shuju nanju ju. Nanju la na me bi ju jiga song ro.
Lesa.
Song yo di jer me che go de hari go de saji te ji yore. Lanji sheban ju bi ji ju. Treji lanji ju. Tuan de bi ju. Wo de saji song. Lanji sheban ju bi ji ju. Lanji sheban ju bi ji ju da kan de sanji ge ri de ri.
Kali then som the sache som.
Lanji sheban ju bi ji ju. Treji lanji ju sana tolang jolang tolang golang song de marbe ha pashin te ban da bi chen na. Tuan de bi ju sana sanji ge tu ju la ro sanji.
Then the Tambo Yanju Surana?
Lanji sheban ju bi ji ju.
Lanji Shepa Ju.
Lanji shebas. Jirin dan zurin seji tsime nanju lang du su gomba la ko de sanji ge rid go go ma de rid me na gontu go marabat. Ote lanji sheban ju bi jin of the rid is rid you na ote
Rik.
sanji ge rid Read men and then Sanga Long.
The sentient Tanje Sanjay Rik Yena. They don't know.
Very.
The Sanjay Rik Mena.
The Jibar and Long Sanjay Rimena, Hanyana Jetu Marot.
Yene Natsu Kanga Sanjay Rik you.
Kanga Sanjay, you are the Sanjay Ri, it is.
Then a Tambo Yanjus, then okay.
Launch Shibanju, you read the
Okay. Launch, okay. Half required. And then Sumba Yanjus Surana?
Sumba Treji Lanji Jews. Treji and then Yumba the Sheji Jebal Treji, Taman Hajan Treji, Nelang, Haglang, Hag Tolan, Jolan, Tolan Golan, or the country.
Nipa. And Sumba?
Sumba that two individuals, Sanji or Sanji Lukore.
Okay, so I'm going to do my best with this because Rinpoche is just right now just translating to me the stages of the tantric path. Lama Tsongkhapa's tantric text, I don't have it. So I'm going to do the best I can with it. But Rinpoche says that text breaks the Tantrayana explanation of the four classes of Tantra: action Tantra, performance Tantra, yogic Tantra, and highest yogic Tantra into three categories. And the first category is that all of the pathways, whether they are the generation stage, completion stage, yoga with signs, yoga without signs, all of these require Buddha nature. So this Buddha nature is what allows for this transformation through these practices to take place. The second category deals with, Rinpoche said, there's probably a major heading, but I apologize, maybe later I could get it translated. It might even be in this text, but we just don't have time. The second category deals with the five pathways: the path of accumulation, the path of preparation, path of seeing, path of meditation, path of no more learning, in a similar way that they are explained in the perfection vehicle. But according to the tantric vehicle, instead of the perfection vehicle. And Rinpoche said, so when we look at the Sutra of the Heart of Transcendent Knowledge, and there's the mantra in there, Teata Om Gate Gate, Paragate Parasangate Bodhisoha, those syllables...
Parasangate Padul, Treji Lanji Ju, Bodhisoha, Tuan Devi Ju.
The Yanjur Sirlang, Teata Om Gate Gate,
Teata Parangate Parasangate, Treji Lanji Ju.
The Gomlam.
Tolang Jolang, Tolang Golang Paduro.
Gomlam.
Bodhisoha, Tuan Devi Ju, Sanji.
Ale, the Sumba, Troa JP, the Sumba. Sache Sumba.
Sumba.
Ale, that. Okay. So when we look at the Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhisoha, Parasangate, when we get to that syllable, so the Teata Om Gate refers to accumulation, Gate to path of preparation, Paragate to the path of seeing, Parasamgate refers to the path of meditation. The path of meditation is where we begin to have these realizations which then transform one into the Buddhist grounds of the path of no more learning, according to the Tantrayana. So this third category, Rinpoche said, so the second category deals with the 5 pathways, but the third category deals with Buddhahood, which is really the 5th path, the path of no more learning. So Rinpoche was just trying to explain to me, basically, that these 5 paths, the Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhisoha, are explained in number 2, but the path of no more learning is actual Buddhahood. So that's the number 3, the actual essence of Buddhahood or explanation of Buddhahood. And this is according to Tantrayana. And basically this is how one transforms from an ordinary being into a Buddha via the tantric path and the stages that are required therein. Less the Lame. Nature Lana may be Jew.
Nature Lana may be Jew. Then someone Shiro is one of someone which is what the Nalamel Madu, Judo Omali Samare. Judo Omal Pon Jumper only Pon.
Ale. Jude the
Shaju, Naju, Sontal Poama to Yomare.
Pon Yomare.
Pon Yomare.
Pon Kona. Kuna. Okay, Gonga Mebichi Rinpoche. Then the Sawan dan share as you want. Ale, Najor Lana. Najor Judan, Lajor Lana. Kuna. Okay. Gonga Mebichi.
Najor Lana Mebichi.
Less so. So when the explanation of Tantrayana, this is definitely not my category of expertise, so I apologize. And when Tantrayana is explained, according to J. Rinpoche, he states that the Vaz initiation is what we find in the lower tantras of the action, performance, and yogic tantras. But the 4 initiations of secret wisdom or knowledge, it's sometimes translated as in word, are found only in the highest yogic tantra. So and then the stages also differ in that in those 3 Tantrayanas of action, performance, and yogic, we find the yoga with and without signs, whereas in the highest yogic tantra we find the generation and completion stage practices. So here we find also the differences between the lower classes of tantra and the highest yogic tantra.
Ta langri chibu tatil wa de zigi na nga do langri chibu tatil duwa peyi jina jeja jil do jeja jil
jeja j. Okay, that's good. Gangin suna the number you're right. Jeja j. Okay, jeja j. Okay, now we're heading towards a book we have. Jeja j. Okay, Rason. NGK Rason. So if anyone has the 3rd volume with them, you go to page 363, and you will find a small section on Vajrayana, which Rinpoche said we'll approach. 363. This is awesome. Sorry. Jeja J. Okay. This book's never been opened here. None of them have. Alright. Adjust here. Alright. Decent Rinpoche.
Ta jeje what the lari chima tendama te son do ta de ni ba chaba do doji tiba la labi chunes. Pashin tiba labi chu do doji tiba labi chu lari chima go de sa je ni yo de jiro.
That's so.
Ta ni ba doji chaba do doji tiba la labi chu nderes ngale ngal labi chu de der nunga ni ki la tumo na la nunga ni ki la tumo na la Jean Béodos, tout le monde a entendu de Joban Zadrelois. Tu dans tout le monde, dans tout le monde, Teba Chemilan, ou de sur le quand la canson que Abbot Johnsona. Tout le monde a la Jean Béodos, tout le monde a entendu de Joban Zadrelois. Odo, deux Mazawa, sans la Jobachates, deux Mazawa, Nabat, sans la Jogures, sans la Jobachate. Lantene un tu gênant les tu lantene tu gênant les chishindo combattants chishindo combattant nyodo tuni zuba shebicheros ne hala jugu jusen tanda ni gogowa ne ngabado tumo lan les gens ça du ne hala ngabado jugu jusen karasana nanghagi chude ne chujele shindu kombares sanghagi chude shira kombare saji tung no ne nghagi temba yosa de shaja tuba ta saji tamani il madu peji memen ro saji tung no ne shaja tuba le yedro ana saji tamadil memen ro madu saji tung no ne ngha yosa ni madu ndo ha shindu kombares Lantene tu na le shindu combattant sondu sanji tung no na ha ga tamba yo sanji ni ma dum do shida kombare do a combattant
that's a gombo. Okay, let's
combattant cheba do tuni cheba combattant nyodu tuni do ba shebi shoros ane tun sono da ishi ku tu jubu tu ngures kan juba ina pashin tiba do mandawa pashin tiba ke ba drama sun to tu sa ne sanji gu ba te doji tibi lan la tene siji luji le sanji je ba lo so ne ba che yo res tu jubu tu ngures
the understanding Sichi Luchi
siji luji tsendere sanji ga mala re ba tu so mar ba o de nga o de su ge nga ge ne ba la tene siji le sanji pashin tiba na shirang gu ma res
that's
nyodo tuni zuba shebi sheros juseni gore
that's
yeah
so here we begin how to train specifically in the Vajrayana. After you have trained in this way in the paths common to both sutra and mantra, you must have doubt on. So here, Rinpoche explained it as he went. So after you have trained in this way in the paths common to both sutra and mantra. So here, this is referring to training the mind in the stage of the path shared in common with beings of small capacity, training the mind in the stage of the path shared in common with beings of medium capacity, and then training the mind in the stage of the path for beings of great capacity according to the perfection vehicle. So once one has trained very well in those common paths, and it says common to sutra and mantra, so all of those three are common to sutra and mantra, you must undoubtedly enter the mantra path, because it is very much more precious than any other practice. The word's actually rare. If we look in the Tibetan, the word rare is used. I think it can be translated as precious. But Rinpoche said in the commentary, the word rare is used because there are only the Sanjay Gatse, the Jew trigger.
Sanjay Tung, Jabandala Sanjay Tung Pegra. Sanjay Tung and Hag, Tambo Sanima to your Mares, Kumbres.
Then the Gatse Dang, Sum, Tam, Jipa, Jusumba, Tama. Okay, so there will only be three Buddhas who will teach Tantrayana during this eon where there will be 1,000 Buddhas that come. And only 3 of those Buddhas will teach Tantrayana. And Buddha Shakyamuni is one of those 3 Buddhas. Therefore, it is very, very rare to be able to receive tantric teachings. And that's why it says, because it is very much more rare than any other practices, because the only 3 Buddhas will teach it in all of the 1,000 Buddhas, whereas the other practices will be taught by all 1,000 Buddhas. So that's why it says it's much more rare. So the same practice can be used, but I think that would seem to say that it's a better in some way than others, whereas it's trying to say that it's rarer in the Tibetan than others. So it's rarer than any other practice, and it quickly brings the 2 collections to completion. So if one were to practice the perfection vehicle, it would take 3 countless eons in order to achieve the state of Buddhahood. But in the tantric vehicle, one is able to accumulate, here it says the 2 collections, which are referring to the collection of wisdom and the collection of merit. These 2 are necessary in order to become a Buddha. Perfection vehicle requires 3 countless eons to achieve this, whereas in the tantric vehicle, we have seen in cases such as Milarepa, where a practitioner in one lifetime is able to achieve the stage of Buddhahood. So we can see that Tantrayana is much swifter, and that's why it says it quickly brings the 2 collections to completion, because the 2 collections of wisdom and merit are what's necessary to become a Buddha, and Tantrayana one can do in one lifetime instead of it requiring 3 countless eons in the perfection vehicle.
Da London, insha anga jiba ina London de katu de beijina, troju reji de lo de, tenma wate yungu wata.
Troju reji, okay.
Troju reji de ne, dewa ina shanchu su, yungu zuban de batang, shawa shu su ju song ju de jidro, shaju ju nenju lana me ju song be. Kete sanga shundu nas ngal juwa ndeba yoba ina kete sanga shundu na tezul hubeng ongu sher nye gu rinchen sujin dang kadu la zu tangji che lama tamba nye ba shas shinyen ten su tu gu re song de marba
the pui kare chang kare
pui toju re re do toju reji ma yung do
rechi the Pomba Yapo.
Dewa yine shanchu tu. Zonsu duban deba dang. Shawa susu ju zombe. Pei juju Dewa yine shanchu tu.
Okay.
Zonsu duban deba dang. Shawa susu ju zombe. Shaju Xueju Yingwa Sone, Nenju Judan, Nenju Lana maybe Junior to Sodi Dugua, Shawa Shu Ju Zombe, Kete Sanga Shu de Nas, Hanan Juan de Bayoba Inas, then on Shugu is Lid Marba.
The Pomba J Gare Rinpoche. Pomba J Gare.
Pomba J
Pomba J. The depot. And also the force.
The way in the Shanchu, Zuban Debadan, Shawa Shosu Jusumbe, Kete Sanga showed on the J such Pay no Lumdu, ancient do it.
Can Sapo do? That's go get me, but she, Rinpoche, Gangi see, Dewa in Shanchu so. So do Badan. Juso, Jusumbe, Shaju Shuju, Ju.
Shawa Josu Jusumbe, Judish later.
Someone taper.
Kete, then Hal Yoba Ina, Sangala Jund and Hal Jundoba Ina, and on Shugu.
That's
Tesulebe on Gushire, Negodin Sujin Dan, Kadula Sutanji, Lama Tabanya Shenye to Gugres. What about the little head of the door?
Okay, decent.
The Khensur
So, the reason we're going back and forth is on. The reason that we're going back and forth, it was open the whole time, which is good. The reason that we're going back and forth is because in the we're looking at the Atisha's Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment. So if you turn to page 30, you'll find what we're talking about. And when you align the stanzas, we're looking at stanza number 61. It says, and also through the force of the 8 and other great attainments like the good pot, if you want to practice secret mantra as explained in the action performance tantras, then to receive a preceptor initiation, you must please an excellent spiritual teacher through service, valuable gifts, and the like, as well as through obedience. So here, this is referring to if in any of the tantras. So we're just trying to. I'm just asking Rinpoche about the 8 and the good pot. I can't seem to find that in the Tibetan, and I just don't. Maybe at break, I can address it a little further. And it just might be 2 stanzas combined together. I've just got to look at it more clearly. But Rinpoche gave the meaning of it, which really is both of these. So if anyone wants to practice any of the types of tantras, action tantra, performance tantra, yogic tantra, highest yogic tantra, it requires an initiation. So then we go back to relying on a spiritual teacher because it requires an initiation from a teacher in order to enter into Tantrayana. So we go right back to Guru devotion when we begin the section on Tantrayana because of the requirement of that relationship. Okay, Digsun. It'll all catch up anyway in a minute. Less so.
Yonzu lume ongu dikun na das luji deba ngagi deba yiji deba chicha deba
lesso
wote tane ngodu bi genen joros
lesso
koji to yongores sonde ado den samarbe
lesso
digita jana da wanji to koji to jana manya bajis koji
lesso
ngodu bi genen joros chugu ngodu bi genen yinjiro.
So then it says, through the full bestowing of the preceptor initiation by a spiritual teacher is pleased, you are purified of all wrongdoing and become fit to gain powerful attainments. So here, this is speaking of a full initiation, the 4 initiations of the Vaz initiation, secret initiation, wisdom initiation, and word initiation. The reason it states this is these purify negativities that we've created from our body, speech, mind, and a combination of the 3. So, therefore, it states that by receiving an initiation, these initiations, basically, we're purified of our all wrongdoing, because all wrongdoing is accomplished through our body, speech, mind, and a union of those 3. So that's what is meant by stanza 63 in Atisha's Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment.
Ane talanjuna ne landun le somba tarasa tanda nga lari chimbu go wote nga khadu te imba wodin dundua talanjuna ne landun le somba taras thoma lama nya kurdan kadru basu je nya ba shawa hashi ba lejan laba shi gude Teyan tele shebi senye mata tsangwa shila tata sheba yinos han shebi lami senye tsangwa gugures sheba yino tene toma gyu meje jo wad senye ten sadu tene gyu meje jo wan shu gugures wan le dwa tene toma meje jo wan gyu du koma ne sheba shi Ju me ba jalas, ne bon sang shira shijwa. And on je ba sang na muji jote. Ju du kuma sheba na on to gres. Ju me je on. Ju du kuma ne sheba shigi. Ju me ba jalas. Tene ti tse son yu tansi dans domba. And then ha ga tansi domba to son gres. Tansi domba na ne tansi domba na nie ne se tansi domba to nie ne sheba shawa sheba shela son sa tansi domba to so ne sheba shene an son gres. Zayu don ne zayu don apo na Lang de yue jans ha ge wan ju ne de ne zayu don po ba yin na. Yang ja 동바 칠래야데 요아레스
Okay.
자유 동아포나 살랑도 여장스 랑지연데 줄라 제와라 체 장유에 대마고발라 베바 베바타브샤스 하그 자동도서 네 고바이나 그 샤던진다도 요아레스 단줄래야당 원슈에서 되게 하그 자동 다 그래서 자동 맞은 가서로 하그 동바 원에도 가서로 요면 가요 말에 뭐 잡지요 잡어 하그 자동 요한들에 배지 상주 선배 동바도 요구로 상주 선배 동바 요발라 상주 선배 인구로다 네 하게 가서 원 동바랜드 동바 잡지마도 원에 토고 좀 말에 냐바다 마차바니 동안라자 내제소스 냐바다 마차바라 동안라자 내제소 글롱 동발레네 네 글롱 동바 냐바다 글롱 동발레네 글롱 동바 마차바 마토바들레 동안레젤 조소나 내제 냐바 내제 용그레스 폼바 라마 광동 네 내제 소샤 내제 동안 타마도 용그레스 냐바다 마차바니 동안라자 내제소스 어떤 나지 지금 하래 돼 이제 된다비지 동안대 총아지 용거이제.
Okay, that's good. The mambo yure.
Yeah. 뭐지 주셔다.
Okay. Then ye chiwa yure. Then the toka the lama the Yunten gu. Lama Yunten gu. Garigu.
Landren sumbatara. Toma lama nyekudan. Kaduba suji. Nyeba shawa. Masheba lejan.
Tama minjegi. Wanju. The Gegen, the Garigu. The Gegen Garigu.
하그 천이 상가지고 그래서 천이 하그 그러면 그 천이
Okay, they don't gare.
예전에 주진자 수지 모든 여비 수지 용서도 거면 집에 동안에 비제 내든 도안자서 도와글라마 말베 내든 도안자서 간다 되나 도와시빌라 템바 예비 예전 주된 바 말로 제일 동수치 태주 계시 하 비지로 다 도이요 라마 주버로 되나 되네 다 가르사 내den주는 수진자 수지 모든 너비 수지 용서도 모면 집에 동안에 비제 내든 도안자로 소한데 간다 되나 도와시빌라 템바 예비 예전 주된 바 말로 제일 동수치 지지 태주 계시라 소한데 고송 레당 루첸 쇠된 장 고송 레당 루첸 쇠된 장越当居民汉的居学心，等你就从这当切开，都认真为说了说的，那个那么多的人。
And Hoa,
原就那的原来就把我的。
Okay, okay. So when we go back to the Lamrim Chenmo, it says practice, and it quickly brings the two collections to completion. If you are to enter it, then as it teaches lamp for the path to enlightenment says, you must first please the Guru, even to a greater extent than explained earlier, with deeds such as respect and service, and the wish to practice that is in accordance with the Guru's words. So if we go back, it says, then to receive the precept or initiation, you must please an excellent spiritual teacher through service, valuable gifts, and the like, as well as through obedience. So that's from the Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment. So Lama Tsongkhapa is just, as Rinpoche did, showing us in the lamp where it points out what's necessary. And this initiation is necessary in order to enter into Tantrayana. And a complete initiation refers to the vase initiation, the wisdom initiation, the vase initiation, the secret initiation, wisdom initiation, and the natural, word initiation. So these 4 initiations are what we're referring to when we say a full initiation. And it says you must do this for a guru who meets at least the minimum qualifications of a teacher explained there. So that's what I was asking Rinpoche about, what the minimum qualifications of a teacher are referring to. And he said that we have to look at what the definition of each of the different types of teachers are. There's a definition of a teacher who is a sutra teacher. There's a definition of a teacher who is a Vinaya teacher. And there's a definition of a teacher who is a tantric teacher. So we find that all of these different types of teacher are defined. And then Rinpoche quoted the Guru Puja and stated that there is a definition that we can find of each of these different kinds of teachers. And it's 10, so it's easy for me at break to just find this instead of looking right now as I'm speaking. So I'll find the quote, and right after break I'll be able to quote it for you. But it shows the definition of those types of teachers. So that's what the minimum qualifications of a teacher is referring to. It says, then, at the outset, your mind should be matured through the ripened initiation as explained in a source tantra. You should then listen to the pledges and the vows to be taken, understand them, and maintain them. So when one takes various tantric initiations, there are pledges and so forth. And in the highest yogic tantra, not only are there the bodhisattva vows, but there are the tantric vows, the root and secondary tantric, highest yogic tantric vows. So one needs to know what those are and then maintain them. So in order to maintain them, you have to know what they are. And it says, if you are stricken by the root infractions, you may take these commitments again. So if you break any among the vows, the root vows and so forth, then you can take those vows again. And that's what you should do in order to restore the vows. Rinpoche, Chutsu Jupa Le.
Okay,
so we'll take a short break and I'll find that and we'll be right back. So Rinpoche quoted the Guru Puja because we find the definition of the 3 types of teachers in that text. So the definition of a Vinaya teacher is found in stanza 43 of the Guru Puja, where it says, we make our request to you, O holders of the elders Vinaya, O masters, second Buddhist clan in saffron. You brim with the treasury of the jewels of much hearing and are a source of excellence, an immense ocean of moral discipline. And then the next we find the Sutra teacher. We make our request to you, O Mahayana Gurus, Lords of Dharma, representing the victorious ones without exception. You possess the 10 qualities that render you suitable guides along the path of those who have gone to bliss. And then here we find the Tantric teacher. We make our request to you, O foremost holders of the Vajra. You are skilled in explaining and composing, are endowed with both sets of 10 qualities, and a knowledge of Tantra and its rituals. You are honorable without pretense of guile, patient, broad-minded, with your 3 doors well subdued. So here we find the 3 different types of teachers, because it's stated that there are 3 types of teachers, Vinaya teacher, Sutra teacher, and Tantric teacher, and all 3 are defined here. And in this section, we're specifically talking about a Tantric teacher. Okay.
양자 나야데 요아레스
Lapsar.
나도 조장 나지에 줄라 저와라 친장유 대마고발은 배버자오스 콜라도 요아레데 손랑줄랑도 줄이 자야되네 개바모 장도 그레스 저마토가 차는 그레스 배버다베샤 bombi 동아 동의 마고발은 배진 자라고나 사주비 터나 샤데사 하가 자동도 bom부도 거바이나 온슈나 안에 자동도 bom부도 다는 거래 되는 단주 온게 추가 온라요로 단주 렌스 어떻게 다는 거다 터나 샤데 내다는 공비 지인비 하가 당시 동바 내다는 공비 지인비 내다 매나 Dranta sabi kamba ribatara ju shiros one jambe zaju lejan sutin chela thongi hanru ban ma khazon la ren chimne jile sonde tanan de le do jambe zaju le sutin chela thongi hanru ban ma sutin chel cheken la hage ne chudo tumo nguru ra dan din da 타마가 요구 말이스 마송데 셰조지 조바라디 타마송 가야 매바송진 내줄라메지 주도 당시 무슨 왔다 ongo meba 되니 메셰바 송지 루장 지양만루바 송베나스 네 내줄라메기 주도 당시 무슨 하게 당시 도 무슨 왔다 ongo meba 시간도 타고도 on야바 마투바치 스고나 ongo meba 다 되니 메셰바 하게 내수 메셰바 송지 하 조장 지양만루바 주동 통모 원루루마 문루바 송베나 다치도 동바 송아메비 랑공바 계셔바 다치도 동마 마송바제네 내하가 랑공바 인스 러바 인나야 하지 출레 참 나버려 참바 인노사
네.
어디 레고 마송데 대다 다치도 동바 송왕 대하지 랑공바 샤왈라 토마 제비림바 하이 내주 하이 콜로스고로 제린로 제린
Vesa.
토마 제비림바 하이 콜로 상와 주도 고만네 셰바시 고데스 제린데 주네 셰비 네 제린 생이 상와 고그레스 고데 하지 라지 토모 많이 베본자네 폼보다 강다 지체다 지체라 랑가와 신비 타면비 나두인라스 하고 본자 타면 나전스고로 타면 나전스근들 고고도다 하지라지 토모 많이 베본자네 폼보지 강지 지체지 폼보가 강주지 지체주니 폼보 미가불라수 폼보 조주 폼보라수 방아로와 칸스나 메기 옴불라수바 메강 제시 주니 조지시 다지시라 소바 랑가와 셴바스 워도서 근갈로 아네 타메바 랑가와 셴바데 타메 나젠디 바레
Vesa.
셴비 타메비 나도 인라스 다도서 그 다바던 공고마 다바 더봉알라 내던 르던 농셔나 내던 르던 농셔나 제바진진 나와 줘와스 제바진진 나와 줘봐 다소소 대사도 소근걸로 누수수 예단지진 공부 있나 드라마는 공부 있나 아니 수 드라마는 예단지진 공 아니 수수 대사 강바도 소근걸로 드라미 제이 강원에 이냐봐 뭐 참아오데 답이 나와 공부를 손대사 타면 나제 니 비시르 데들 타메지 나도 잠바테 저와 세제지 두군도 신지 Lujins, and Taming and Haja, the John Yala Abajabayina, and Shuji Jawa Setan Jebi, Dukundu, and Jushin Lagres.
Less so.
So not to Tayeba.
Less so.
Dala to Shevish, what the Gumbayina, Sonong to Lobichet, Lelabijin doing res.
Less so.
Shebe na Zubi and Bin Hunto Roma Yembe, Jenny the Abajon during Jilla Jiage, Jujen Town res, Jenny Geshe Lharampa during Uro.
Less so.
Then
Rinpoche. Chishina dits ka, then a Gangisina the NGK, the Kaka Yere, then Jagamare. Because Kashe Yere.
Oh, the easy to love.
Okay. So I just asked Rinpoche to stop so I could not forget some points, because he was making points as he was going through. I think, then at the outset, your mind should be matured through the ripening initiation as explained in the Source Tantra. You should then listen to the pledges and vows to be taken, understand them and maintain them. If you are stricken by root infractions, you may take these commitments again. However, this greatly delays the development of good qualities of the path in your mind. So the excellent qualities of the path of accumulation, path of preparation, the path of seeing, path of meditation, path of no more learning, the realizations along the way of those paths are delayed by breaking commitments. So it delays your progress in relation to those pathways. Make a fierce effort not to be tainted by these root infractions. Strive not to be tainted by the gross infractions, but in the event that you are tainted, use the methods for restoring your vows, since these are the basis of the practice of the path. Without them, you will become like a dilapidated house whose foundation has collapsed. The root tantra of Manjushri says. So previously, in the first volume, went over, we found a quote from the spoken words of Manjushri, and we were stressing the importance of making effort in ethical behavior in order to succeed in any of the practices of Buddhism. So it says, the master of the sages does not say that faulty ethical discipline achieves the tantric path, meaning that those with faulty ethical discipline have none of the great, intermediate, or low attainments. So they won't be able to achieve rebirth in the higher realms. They won't be able to achieve the state of just liberation, and won't be able to then achieve the great state of Buddhahood. And it says in the highest Yoga Tantra text that those who do not maintain their vows, those who have inferior initiation, and those who do not understand reality do not achieve anything despite their practice. So they can have a facsimile of a practice, they can have a facsimile of achievement, but there isn't an actual achievement if any of these three are present. So it says, if one doesn't have a good initiation, or one doesn't understand reality, that means understanding emptiness. So it says, maintain their vows, inferior initiation, and does not understand emptiness. So these three things make it so one is not having a true realization of Tantrayana. It says, who do not understand, really, in reality, do not achieve anything despite their practice. So even though you're going through the motions and practicing, there isn't any real result. Therefore, someone who talks about practicing the path without maintaining the pledges and vows has completely strayed from the tantric path. So if someone says, I practice Tantrayana, but they aren't a holder of the vows, then they are not practicing Tantrayana. They have strayed. They are not on that path. I mean, when it says strayed from the path, it means they are not on a tantric path, because that path is the tantric path. Straying from it means they're not on a tantric path. It says, in order to cultivate the mantra path, someone who keeps the pledges and vows should at the outset meditate on the stage of generation. The complete divine wheel is explained from a source of tantras. So one begins with the generation stage practices and the visualization of oneself as the deity. The unique object to be eliminated on the tantric path is the conception of ordinariness, which regards the aggregates, constituents, and sensory sources as common. So in the initial stages, one one generates oneself as a deity to abandon the ordinary appearance as one who is just an ordinary being who's contaminated. So the ordinary appearance is that one is oneself, and that abandonment is the realization of oneself as the deity. When one meditates on that, for instance, when meditating upon Tara, one is not only imagining that you have become her, and abandon that first ordinary appearance, but all of the environment around you becomes that of Tara's paradise. So the house that you are in becomes Tara's castle, becomes Tara's palace, and the environment you are living in is the pure land of Tara. So this is what it means by abandoning these ordinary appearances in order to tame our minds and to achieve the transformation of generation to completion to no more learning of Buddhahood. And it says the unique object to be eliminated on the tantric path is the conception of ordinariness which regards the aggregates. These are the 5 aggregates of form, feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness. The constituents, the kam gare rinpoche ngi jisun. The kam gare, the pomba kam dang jiji. So the 18 constituents are what the constituents talk about, and the sensory sources are the jeche, the zuigeche, just form sources, sense sources, and so forth. So it is the stage of generation itself that eliminates this and transforms the abodes, so that's the place, the bodies, one's body, and resources, the things one use, so that they appear as special. They abandon ordinary appearances. They transform all appearances into special appearances. The conquerors and their children continually bless the person who clears away the conception of ordinariness in this way. Such a person easily brings to completion the limitless collection of merit, thereby becoming a suitable vessel for the stage of completion. So during this stage of generation, when one is properly practicing, one is continually receiving blessings from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and one is very able to quickly then be transformed into a practitioner of the stage of completion by properly practicing this generation stage. Okay, Diksun. So there's this first imagination that takes place, that from the state of emptiness, from emptiness arises yourself as Tara. And then from this emptiness, as you arise as Tara, you then also allow the environment from the state of emptiness around you to transform into the special place that Tara abides, and the things that are around you as the special enjoyments that Tara uses. So all of these ordinary appearances are transformed into appearances that are special, that are pure. Diksun.
Jirin kala kasa yabu chonsuna jirin nyane jeje zurin nyane jinyadu nyadu gongwa resi marwa. Tene zubi rinpa judu koma ne jungwa tar nam gongwe jes rinpa tambu tuyi shimin kongsun duwa zang je langje chashi ri zang la jungwa ne judu tada ki gongde je keba na jeba mayinos jirin pa jane zorin gongsa ne kaji sheken yojor wote keba zo jeba maris te tega maris zorin yung ala jirin hodun rogore jirin gyo sheba la tene zorin yung gore mato jirin meba zorin gonga yo maris keba zo song yo maris keba na jeba mayino di shere nenju lana mebi lanje le zubi remba nije ne simba shaos di sher ne yula na mebi jirin ta zurin ge ne ga tu ya bu sheba jene ne tuyun ta sanju da gujun ya bu kale jawores sheba shao de da ne mi zang shi gune hala juba shu zang shi tenba yinbe jeba ne nga je Lanji Rinpa Nale Harin Chimbo. Lanji Rinpa Harin Chimbo Jibu Yodro. And then Hagi, Jirmish and Hagan Reba Muyoro, Ta, Sondi Sajuk and Reba Muyore, Reba Jira. What to soon you are is something inside. Tetabi Chujil Hana, Dongaji, Net Hanji Dubi, Lanji Lung Zubala, Laban Ju. Tewatuba Tonton Deba Shijin, Tanju Tubal Tonton Deba Yungres, Javi Tembaram Chitan, Javi Tembaram Chirantan, Jenji Jula, Jiba Shiba Yinos, what the Yalan Jiba Yina, Javi Tembaram Susu Jul Jengure, Jendal Julia Jengures, Penchu Yoris, what in the Lani Chimutan water.
Jula Jupa Che Nupa Yino.
What in my Judah? Each alone, each.
Okay. So, this person should then meditate as appears in the source tantras on the stage of completion. So, one needs to thoroughly practice the stages of generation and then practice the stages of completion. There needs to be a separate practice of these two stages. It needs to be done in that order in a thorough fashion. And neither the Tantras nor the scholars to explain their intended meanings hold that you should discard the first stage and merely classify it within the latter stage, training only in the individual portions of the path. Therefore, you must bear in mind the vital points of the two stages of the complete corpus of the path of highest Yoga Tantra. So the complete pathways of the generation stage and the complete pathways of the completion stage, considering only in the terms I have described a mere fraction of what is involving in entering into the mantra path. Therefore, understand this in detail by using works on the stages of mantra path. If you train in this way, you will train in the entirety in the entirely complete corpus of the path, which includes all the vital points of sutra and mantra. As a result, your attainment of life and leisure in this lifetime will have been worthwhile, and you will be able to extend the Conqueror's precious teaching within both your own and others' minds. So Rinpoche said that concludes the Lamrim Chenmo. So you have all of this now in English, so you can look at that yourself as well, and then slowly understand it. But the problem is if you go to just these higher teachings and just try to read them, don't have the basis, you'll misunderstand them very easily and mix it up, and then there's a danger in that. That's why it's best to really follow the Lamrim, the stages of the path, in a complete fashion. Yeah, then Tomorrow, Lanji.
Oh, yeah, that's the name. Tomorrow, all good, yeah. That's the second room, Nani do it. Jema maybe Nabanya, Sudan do the Swan Shinji law, so what the gay, Nanhag, Tansi but Hag, Zayuan Kazil, Zayuan, Hag, Zayuan, and Lama Yemen, Haja Chudish, Mila Juju, Rula Shambapo, Mamen Sandu Rank Pompanian, Tombayan, Dujin, the Tawama, the Tennis, Tansi Medepem, Yala Kaza, Hag, to do laminage, Goreyuka. Goreyuka, what in Hag, Tatu, Lama Yemen, Tatu Tamboro, Haja Chudish, Nibaje, Mila Junjus, Onyon Dushi, the Jujina, Hag Tatu Dua.
The pension son on Drapa, the Jew Muribe. Ratson.
How it's not to do it, John Devo.
Saton, Tsawa. So Rinpoche was just saying that the was going over the various root vows. So it says, "Bless me to know with genuine certainty that when I've entered thus, the cause that gives me both the high attainments is to keep my pledges and my vows most pure. Grant me then to always keep them, even if it costs my life." So when we look at the vows, we can find that there are 14 root tantric vows. The first root tantric vow, there are 8 branch downfalls, and the first is with respect to the Vajra master. The first is making any violation in regards to the Vajra master, so refraining from any violation in regards to the Vajra master. So this is the first root tantric downfall, the pension sanandrapa, the Jew. So you can also find this in Pension Sanandrapa's overview of Buddhist tantras. But Rinpoche was quoting prior to that, the 6-session Guru Yoga, when you have that is, Rinpoche said, is the best. And we find all those pledges in there. And also you'll find the Bodhisattva vows as well are in the 6-session Guru Yoga. Juje. J, the Tsatun Juje, the Yenla, the J. Then Duche Korlo, Ni Moa, Yure. The Juje, J, then a Ni, Yure. Jao Rinpoche, the Becha, the Ni Ma. Yeah, then Yenla J, Pension Sanandrapa. Then Pension Sanandrapa, the Tsoa Juje, the Tambo Ke Chenpo J. Oh, less so. And Rinpoche also said that we find in the Guru Yoga where it mentions the root tantric vows. It's probably in disclosure maybe section about the root tantric vows. And so anyway, there are 14 root tantric vows. There are, and this is highest yoga tantra, and then 8 secondary vows.
Yes, man.
But slowly, when you look at texts, you'll be able to find all of these points. And you'll start to understand what these points mean and what they're related to as you go through. I think I think so. Less so. Less so. Less so. Less so.
주도 원미 체제 체매다 주도 고민 지린 조린 냐수 람발라 튠제 냐래제 고레스 튠제 하루 튠지 되네 하루 튠니 시르 튠니 튠제 하분 튠지 되네 칼라사사 튠지 튠니 지로 안에 고다 주도 송바지 튠지 안에 제방가 튠지 튠제.
Okay, that's it.
다도 냐래제 당가서 도는 건가도 용건 뭐지 뭐네 공전 냐래제가 수송 들어와.
That's it.
최진 내주 줄로 메와 답이 소신도 와신지로. 어때버지?
That's it.
다다다 랑전도 비치네도 최진도 비존나셔 된지 시당 나고 받주비 냐와셔 신지로 주스. 다다 랑전도 비치네다 기신예지 부터 몰라마르 몰라. 최진도 비존나셔 된지 시당 나고 받주비도 냐와신지 셔와신지로 주스.
That's it.
What that so again da Churuk Ngalo, Kuzashabitem, Melandua.
Lesso.
Tachiwako de Adalaman, the Mechibel, Satana, Dojishan Kubonia to Jus. What do the Marbeta?
Lesso.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rinpoche went over this again. So, bless me to know with genuine certainty when I've entered thus, the cause that gives me both the high attainments is to keep my pledges and my vows most pure. Grant me then to always keep them, even if it costs my life. So, in order to achieve the state of generation and completion, one must keep the vows. So there are the 14 root and 8 secondary vows in the highest Yoga Tantra that are to be kept, and then there are also the Bodhisattva vows and so forth. Bless me next to realize as well as I can the crucial points of both the steps, the essence of the secret ways. Grant me then to practice as the holy ones have spoken, putting all my effort in and never leaving off the practice of the 4 times highest that there is. So here this means to engage in the practices of the yoga with or yoga without signs, or practices of generation, practices of completion, 4 times a day, whatever stage you are currently in. So practicing 2 times in the morning and 2 times in the afternoon, night. So that's what is meant by that. Rinpoche said before breakfast, after breakfast, 3 in the afternoon, and then sometime at night is an example of what could be, not what has to be, just an example of 2 times in the morning and 2 times at night. Grant me then, bless me, grant me that the spiritual friend who shows me this good road, so this is the teacher who shows us these paths, and all my true companions in this quest live long and fruitful lives. So this is an aspiration that our teachers and our spiritual friends, meaning not spiritual friend usually used as a teacher, meaning our friends that are Buddhists, our friends that are religious, here's an aspiration that they all live a long life. Bless and grant me that the rain of obstacles, things without in me, outside me that could stop me now, stop and end forever. So this is here more aspirational prayers that obstacles may be removed. And then a dedication, in all my lives may I never live apart from my perfect lamas. May I bask in the glory of the Dharma. May I fulfill perfectly every good quality of every level and path, and reach then quickly the place where I become myself the one who holds the diamond. So that completes the Lama Tsongkhapa's source of all my good. Dikso. Long. Okay, so that completes the source, and that'll be it. Huh? Yeah, it's simple. And when we're done, don't make prostrations. It's the end of the teaching. It's not auspicious.
예체 고든 쳔부 렘불로 주제 메버 저와 신제로 뭐다 어디 찬르다 예체 주제 마차로.
So that completes the source of all my good. And there was a transmission. I would have said it before, but Rinpoche said first he didn't need to give one, and then he said, let's do verses for auspiciousness, and then did the whole transmission. So that completes that.
다 제만은 가서 땡들도 버티네요.
So in the future, then we'll begin the praise of dependent origination. So the concluding mandala offering and dedication prayer. He said, maybe you're all bored. He taught the source of all my good for so long. Thank you so much, Rinpoche. The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. So dedicate whatever virtues I've collected for the benefit of the teachings and all beings, in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Drapa to shine forever. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra as well, with whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the three times. I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. In that pure land surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. All-powerful Avalokiteshvara Tenzin Gyatso, may you stay until samsara's end. I pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Wandak, holder of scriptural and realizational doctrines, spiritual friend who trained extensively in the 5 great philosophical texts, exceptional wisdom and perseverance. Tuji Rinpoche Gutsi Shapi Denronang, Khensur Lamrim Chenmo Kangachi Ronang.